Yo, what's popping? So today I'm going to talk about the race to make the play-ins to get out of the absolute dumpster of the standings and secure a chance to make the playoffs. That's what every team wants, right? Unless you're Paris, who probably I don't know what they want. No one knows what Paris wants, but they want to leave Paris. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about the format for that, the standings, each team's path to make it into the play-ins that are in the bottom of the standings, and things like that. So starting off, we're going to talk about the format for the play-ins. In the East, the bottom team does not make play-ins, and the numbers 4, 5, 6 do, with only one of them coming out of there to make the playoffs. The top three teams bypass play-ins entirely. Over in the West, the bottom three teams do not make play-ins, and numbers 7, 8, 9 do, with the top six bypassing it. Two of the number 7 to 10 will make it out of play-ins into playoffs. Two will go home sad with no playoffs. So that's that format. But next is going to be, well, how do you increase in the standings? It's league points, right? One regular season win equals one league point, as well as making a tournament will guarantee you a point, and then the placings depend on if it's a regional or international tournament. For regional tournaments, the first place team gets three, second place team gets two, everyone else gets one. For the international midseason madness tournament, the first place team got four, second place got three, third place got two, and everyone else got one. So that's the only way to get points. But next up is, well, what's the tiebreaker? Let's say that the Vancouver Titans, they get two more wins and they have 6 points with the Boston Uprising, with five of them coming from regular season and the other 1 point coming from the tournament. Well, the next one is actually not the map differential, as you would expect. It is match win percentage, which includes the tournaments. So actually, no matter what Vancouver's map differential is from the regular season, if they were to have 6 points and the Boston Uprising also have 6 points, Boston will always be ahead of them because they went 0-2 in that tournament, and it cost them. They can never win that tiebreaker. They need 7 points to be above Boston, or they need at least a point above Boston, right? They'll never win the tiebreaker with the even amount of points. Same over for the Charge. Let's say that they had a plus 25 map differential or a plus 100 map differential. They've won every map from now on. They're sky high, and they have the same amount of points as the Chengdu Hunters. They both have 7. It doesn't matter that Chengdu would have a lower map differential in this case. They would still be ahead of the Charge because the Charge, they made one tournament and they went 0-2, so that hurts the overall match win rate, which is the second tiebreaker. So that that's underway. I can talk about the paths for actually making it. So first up in the East, between the Hunters, Charge, and Valiant, two out of those three teams will make it. And for Charge to leapfrog Chengdu, they need two more wins than them in the next tournament. That's actually not that unattainable because let's say they beat the Hunters. Suddenly, they just need another win somewhere and or another win over the Hunters somewhere, like whether it be like they're able to be Philly and Hunters aren't or something like that. It is feasible that the Charge could technically leapfrog the Hunters. It's kind of unlikely though, because if you beat the Hunters and you beat the Valiant, like maybe if the Hunters also lose to the Valiant, suddenly you're in a situation where maybe the Charge end up leapfrogging them. So that's possible. But the one that's chasing, right, is the LA Valiant. They need two more wins than the Charge to make it or to leapfrog them, and that is before map differential because that's the next tiebreaker. Or oh no, you're right. No, wait, calm down. This is where that match win rate comes in. Um, so right, if the LA Valiant get two more wins than the Charge, no matter what, and they have 6 points, the map differential doesn't matter. They're always ahead of the Charge. So you have to watch out there. If the Valiant are able to win their matchup against the Charge in the upcoming stage, and they find another win somewhere else if the Charge don't, suddenly the Charge, it doesn't matter that they made that tournament, they are going to be behind the Valiant and lose out on the play-in spot. So like the East is highly contested, even though it looks like this. It is pretty contested still, and that the individual matchups between the Charge and Valiant will have very high impact results in the East. But I can't really say anything other than that, right? Because there's so many different aspects. Everyone plays each other. Like just the matchups. Just watch out for the matchups between these three teams. Watch out for Hunters versus Charge, Hunters versus Valiant, Charge versus Valiant, and yeah, basically. So those three matches are going to be very important. Or I guess four matches. But over to the West, it's a bit more easier to explain what's going on. So the Paris Eternal. Wait, actually, let me start with the Washington Justice. The Washington Justice technically haven't clinched a spot for plans, but if they get one more win, they do. straight up. So, and even if they don't find another one, even if they go 0-6, and we can look at their schedule, if they go 0-6, they lose to every single one of these teams. They lose to New York, they lose to Atlanta, Boston, everyone else. Actually, I have a pretty rough schedule. They'll play Dallas, Shock, and Gladiators. But let's say they lose every single match. That still means that Vancouver would have to win all of their matches just to have a chance to overtake them. I don't know exactly what the match win rates look like there because Washington's been in multiple tournaments, so I'm not entirely sure. I feel like Vancouver would have a higher match win rate because I don't think Washington have won anything. Could be mistaken there, not sure. But yeah, Vancouver would basically have to win all of their matches, and they play the Gladiators, they play the Fuel. Realistically, Vancouver's not going 6-0 in this stage. So Washington Justice, by all means, right now, to me, they've made the plans at least. So then you get down to these bottom four. Well, what's Paris's path to success? Well, they have to go 6-0. Paris aren't going 6-0. It doesn't even matter what their schedule is. They could be playing the next 6 teams directly above them. They're still not going 6-0. They're playing, Dallas, Houston. You're not finding wins against these teams. Paris is not beating the Shock. So Paris are basically out. Then we go to New York. Well, New York's path is you could probably be above Boston with 3 wins with the right map differential, which would be the next one for these teams because neither of them have made a play-in or a tournament. So there is a way for New York to make it above Boston there. But we look at their schedule, they would need 3 more wins than Boston and map differential to go into their favor. New York play the Toronto Defiant, Atlanta Reign, Washington Justice, LA Gladiators, London Spitfire, and Boston Uprising. So let's say they are able to beat the Boston Uprising. They just need 2 more wins to find, and Boston can't win anymore. So they're not going to beat the Gladiators. They're not going to beat Atlanta, probably. I mean, that's a world where they do if Atlanta aren't able to bounce back, I suppose. But basically, this matchup they need to win. And they need to find 2 other wins or 3 other wins, depending on if Boston can also win another match. And they play Paris. So realistically, New York need to find at least 4 wins. And I don't know if they can find 4 wins on this board. They would be over doubling their total wins on the season in the last stage. I don't know if a 4-2-1 is realistic for New York. It is possible, but I have doubts that New York make it. Even if Boston don't win anything, I have doubts. But then we get into Vancouver versus Boston. So Vancouver also needs to win 3 more matches than Boston. That is what they need to do. 2 is not enough, even though they have the same amount of points. That's where that hidden, not hidden, but that's when the next tiebreaker comes into play, which I didn't know about until I was trying to make this video. So I don't know why many other people would know about it either. So then we see Vancouver. They need 3 wins here. Probably 4. You need probably 4 wins because Boston beat Paris for sure. And then let's say they completely lose and they fumble it to everyone else, and they only get 1 win. They go 1-5. Well, Vancouver needs 4 wins then, and they play the London Spitfire, LA Gladiators, Dallas Fuel, Toronto Defiant, Florida Mayhem, and Paris Eternal. So let's say they beat Paris. Say Paris don't win anything. Maybe there's a world where Paris wins a match. Maybe it's against Vancouver. Maybe it's against Boston. Who knows? I don't think so. Not important. Let's say they beat Paris, then they need to find 3 more wins if Boston goes 1-5. It's not looking too hot, is it? Because you can say, well, they almost beat Defiant last stage, so maybe they can do it again. Maybe they can actually beat Defiant. Maybe King doesn't fumble a little bit. Sure, let's get them a win over Defiant. Why not? We don't know the meta. Maybe it won't help. Maybe it will help them. Maybe they're gonna have a meta where False can shine, where Mira can shine on the tank, whatever it is. They got rolled by Florida recently, but that's winnable. Dallas is going to be a hard sell to me that you think Vancouver is going to beat Dallas. But maybe we've seen Dallas aren't too hot if they're trying to force Gurrio or if they're trying to maybe not in tune with the meta properly, like in the midseason madness kind of. But even then, not sure if they lose to the Vancouver Titans, but hard to say. LA Gladiators, maybe they failed to bounce back after that stage. Maybe they fumble again. Who knows? And then the London Spitfire. Well, Vancouver could beat London if Aspire goes crazy. But all of this is they're on the back foot. They're not expected to beat any of these teams, right? None of these teams you're expecting Vancouver to beat right now. So, and they need to find 3 wins there. It's not looking good for Vancouver either, unfortunately. Even if you think Boston lose 5 games or even 6 games, it's not looking great for these teams. I'm not saying it's impossible. But there is a big mountain for the Vancouver Titans to climb because 3 wins 3 more wins than Boston in 6 matches is a pretty tall mountain. And like even though it's only a 2 point differential, that the points are hard to come by at this point in the season. But hopefully you found this video interesting. I will have tier list videos of each roles coming out soon. Defiant Roundtable, things like that. So if you're interested in this kind of content, stick around for that. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you like it. Let me know who you think is going to make it into the play-ins. Let me know how you think about the format. Do you think it should be map differential, or do you think it should be the match win rate like it is? Anyway, yeah. Subscribe for more daily Unfortunately content. Have yourself a good one. Deuces.